Today, fans, Premier Pro Wrestling honors, and today I do mean honors, Koko Ware. What an amazing wrestler, man. I train people. That's what Premier Pro Wrestling does. I'm an accomplished pro wrestling trainer. I could go into all that and put myself over, but I'm not going to make this very long today because tonight I've got a wrestling event to book. So, a couple of things get me angry, and one of those things is the internet and the internet wrestling community. Did you know when you go to Wikipedia, they refer to Koko Ware as a mid-carder jobber to the superstars? What I'd like to refer you guys to, factotums, wrestling fans, Indians, prospective wrestlers, I want you to go on YouTube and check out Koko Ware versus Ric Flair. Koko Ware was the first black wrestler to challenge the NWA champion, the pinnacle of pro wrestling at that time, Ric Flair, or any NWA champion, in the Mid-South Coliseum, a building that was run every Monday night for 30 years. It seated 11,000 people. 11,000 people bought tickets, and I'm sure there were more turned away to see a black wrestler, Koko Ware, versus Ric Flair. And the story goes even deeper than that. In the same token, they put Dusty Rhodes as Koko Ware's second in this match. Just think for 1 minute, 1985, paired with what I just told you, how hard you'd have to work to be in that position. And then the kicker at the end of the day was a fuck finish. That's how over Koko was. The NWA champion did not beat him in the middle of the ring. So tell me, how is that guy known on Wikipedia as the mid-carder jobber to the stars? Unbelievable. When you go on YouTube, you can find just about anybody's Hall of Fame speech. Directly, their Hall of Fame speech. It should say Koko Ware WWE HOF induction. You can't find that with Koko because it doesn't exist. They've got him in the Hall of Fame that year, but you got to fast forward through the Funk Brothers and halfway through the video. It's a shame. Koko Ware, when I tell these kids that I'm training, and I'm training the guys to be a babyface, that's their character, he's one of the first guys that I tell them to study. And I don't care if it's 1985 or 2023. If you have that kind of fire, you're going to get over. You're going to stand out. Now, I also want you to think about this. The man was 5'7", a black man from Johnson City, Tennessee, is one of the most recognizable wrestling characters of all time. One can only imagine what he went through in 85 coming up through the ranks. And on top of that, he was trained by Plowboy Frazier, who was an absolute giant who couldn't possibly train Koko to work his style. He was an innovator. Koko Ware, I always refer to him to people from this era, or the people that don't remember seeing him wrestle on television except for through YouTube and the network. He is the equivalent of Owen Hart. When they paired those two, I wish they would have had more plans for him at the time, but unfortunately, World Wrestling Entertainment was the land of the giants. They would have been one hell of a tag team if given half a chance. Okay, my personal connection to Koko is I used to run into Koko a lot when I was breaking in and doing non-contract work jobs for World Wrestling Entertainment. Yeah, and one thing I used to do is I'm big on 1980s movies, and one of my favorites is I love Richard Pryor, Live on the Sunset Strip, and Eddie Murphy Raw. And I used to do a really good impression of a part of Eddie Murphy, where he would portray his Aunt Bunny, and Aunt Bunny falling down the stairs. And sometimes when I was wrestling in the ring, I would do that and do, Jesus Christ, Lord Hillman, no, you're falling down the stairs. So I used to do it really loud and proud, and I didn't realize one day when I was doing it at one of those tapings, because it used to make the boys pop, that Koko overheard it, and he was so impressed with it and laughed so hard at it. He literally said, we've got to go bring this to Vince. He's got to hear what you just did. Can you do that again? And I really appreciated that. And from that point on, you know how it is. When the ice is broken, you can make somebody laugh. Especially a guy like that, the sky's the limit. Now, I know he was a man of faith, or is a man of faith. And the reason that he left World Wrestling Entertainment, from what I understand, is the fact that when you're a young guy and you break into wrestling, or broke into wrestling back then, and I know this firsthand because I had the same issue. Nobody ever explains to you that you're an independent contractor and you're responsible for your own taxes. When you do that as a young guy and it's not explained to you, it's very easy to get behind the 8 ball with the IRS, because you get so damn busy being on the road every night that the years pass, and next thing you know, you get a tax bill, and it's just gigantic. So the way I heard it is the only reason that he left WWE, because he was loved so much by the talent roster, and especially Vincent Kennedy McMahon, was because that tax trouble got to the point where they had to garnish his wages. And at WWE at the time, they were having issues with the IRS, because the IRS wanted to make the independent contractor, the wrestler, an employee, so they could tax the shit out of him even more. So once again, guys, you got to look between the lines. I just can't believe that a guy of that magnitude, one of the most recognizable guys in the history of pro wrestling, one of the most talented guys in the history of pro wrestling, is recognized as weakly as he is today in 2023 as far as the internet wrestling community goes. Hope you guys are enjoying these Black Wrestlers You Should Know episodes. I know I sure am. Please note again, there's no YouTube ads or commercials on here. Please help support Premier Pro Wrestling. Premier Pro Wrestling on Pro Wrestling Tees. Stream our content, Premier Pro Wrestling, on Patreon. And please, while you're here, be cool. Like and subscribe.